Scripture this morning is Isaiah 30, verses 23 to 24. He will also send you rain for the seed you sow in the ground, and the food that comes from the land will be rich and plentiful. In that day, your cattle will graze in broad meadows. The oxen and the donkeys that work the soil will eat fodder and mash, spread out with fork and shovel. Oh. There you go, Bob. Well, spring is sprung, and the grass is risen. How many times have you had to cut your lawn so far this year? We could have used, and still could use, a combine in some of the places that have been wet, and that grass, even if it's crabgrass, has grown quite well. Even with the rain, we look forward to spring. Thank goodness winter is over, we hope. Yes, the grass grows, but so do the flowers bloom, and the bushes and trees put on a spectacular show. This year has been especially pretty. The Song of Solomon says it much better than I can. Song of Solomon, chapter 2, verses 11 to 12. For behold, the winter is past. The flowers appear on the earth. The time of singing has come, and the voice of the turtle dove is heard in our land. We may not hear the turtle dove, but we certainly hear those first robins that appear, and you go, oh, I heard a robin. Spring must be coming. Spring, farmers plow their field and they plant their crops, and they wait for it to rain. Rain not only helps things to grow, but it replenishes our water supplies. Just look at California. We need rain. Zechariah 10:1 tells us, ask the Lord for rain in the spring of the year. It is the Lord who sends rain clouds and showers, making the fields green for everyone. Spring is associated with rain, with crops, and also hope and rebirth. Makes sense. Easter happens during the spring. Christ's resurrection gives us the hope of eternal life and the promise of salvation. Acts 4:12. Salvation is found in him alone. In all the world, no one else whom God has given can save us. As Christians, we are given new life and new mercies each morning of our life. What should we do with that gift? Or do we do anything with that gift? One thing we could do is spring cleaning, ladies. You know, I look forward to it all year. How about you? Not just regular spring cleaning, but Christian spring cleaning. Because our lives have been cluttered during the year, and we need to make room for what's ahead. We need to ask for guidance, because sometimes we don't make the right decisions. And then, let the cleaning begin. Where to begin? I'm going to use a computer example. Scan for big problems. And the same way with our life. Let's look at our life and let's do a scan for big problems. Well, how do we do that? Well, we get out our Bible, we turn to Exodus 20, verses 2 to 17. The Ten Commandments. Why not fall back to the basics? If we are tripping over any, ask God for his forgiveness and for his guidance. Dust off your irritations. Think of things or people that annoy you. I'm sure that none of us have anything that annoys us. Let go of that negative and invite hope, love, and peace. It's awfully hard to do after you watch the world news. We are really in the midst of a not too good of time in our world. 1 Corinthians 13:5. And all of you guys will just love this one. You may want to remember it. 1 Corinthians 13:5. Love does not keep records of wrong. I don't know, I've got some that are almost 60 years old. Consider the clutter of your lives, the clutter of your days. What could you eliminate to help you become a better Christian? How about that one TV show that you definitely could live without? Or one gossip session? And ladies, it's just not us. You men know that you gossip too. So don't go pointing that finger just at us, because we'll be pointing it right back. Contemplate what is lacking. That's kind of an easy one if you just stop and think. What are we lacking in our lives that would make us a better Christian? The first thing that came to my mind was, what do we do for others? Others that aren't as fortunate. Jonna is collecting socks right now. So she's helping someone that is less fortunate. There are many other examples of what we could do as Christians. We could make a phone call to that person that lives alone and can't get out of their home without a lot of work. We can go visit someone that we know is having a problem, and maybe just the visit could take their mind off of it a little bit. Or we could just listen. Listening is so important. Romans 12 through 18, and I am just going to read it because I don't memorize verses well, especially this many. Let your hope keep you joyful. Be patient in your troubles and pray at all times. Share your belongings with the needy fellow Christians. Open your home to strangers. Ask God to bless those who persecute you. Yes, ask Him to bless, not curse. Be happy with those who are happy. Weep with those who weep. Have the same concern for everyone. Do not be proud, but accept humble duties. Do not think of yourself as wise. If someone has done you wrong, do not repay him with the wrong. Try to do what everyone considers to be good. Do everything on your part to live in peace with everybody, and never take revenge. That's hard to do every day of our life. That's why we come to church to get the support from the church. Or we have other Christian friends who can understand where we're coming from. One of my best friends is kind of like an old-fashioned Baptist. Well, I never have to worry about my soul because she prays for me every day. Bless her. Hosea 6:3. Let us try to know the Lord. He will come to us as surely as the day dawns, as surely as the spring rain falls upon the earth. Pastor Jim had a Bible study on Revelations, of which unfortunately I could not go to, because I love to delve into Revelations. It's a little scary at first until you understand it. Revelations, in all of its scariness, also tells about the second coming of Christ. James 5:7. Be patient then, brothers, until the Lord comes. See how patient a farmer is as he waits for his crops? He waits patiently for the spring rain. The spring rain not only brings the farmer good crops, but those crops not only feed our nation, but feed other countries. Unfortunately, the farmer doesn't make the markup that the stores do. Every time I go into a store, I look at the prices, my heart sinks, I shake my head, and I say, I just don't know how people with kids can even make it. You know, we can go without tennis shoes. Our feet don't grow at this time. Kids, every 6 months you're buying a pair of tennis shoes. Have you looked at the price of tennis shoes? Now, Christ avoided that. He wore sandals. So, he's going to be with us, and somehow give us that income to get those tennis shoes, or maybe in Jonna's case, those socks. You watch TV and there's the ads for the little kids across the pond, and it just rips your heart out. And it's only for $19 a month. And then another ad comes on, and another ad comes on, and another ad comes on, and you go, if I gave to all of those, I wouldn't even have the money to exist. So you somehow have to find which one really needs the money and really is going to help the children. I had a college professor that was from Africa, and she wore the long printed dress and the turban on her head, and she was just full of personality and knowledge. She also was an orphan and raised in an orphanage until an organization adopted her and brought her to America, of which she finished school, high school. She went on to get her bachelor's, she went on to get her master's, and she went on to get her doctorate. She also married someone from here in America who happened to be a redhead. So when you saw them, you know, she was so dark black, and with her turban and dress, and he was here with his curly red hair. And they were coming to the house one day, and I told the kids, now, you know, please watch what you say. Don't say anything that will hurt feelings. Oh, okay. And for a while they stayed in the background, and pretty soon one of them came out, and I just prayed real quick, oh, please don't let them say she's black and he's white. And the one said, oh, Mom, he's got red hair just like I do. And we all had a good laugh, thank goodness. And it was a much better experience than when we were looking into adopting and the caseworker came to the house. And it was at Christmas time, so I offered her a cup of coffee and some Christmas cookies. And she said, oh, thank you. She said, I skipped lunch. I said, well, we'll have extra Christmas cookies. She said, well, I'd like to use the bathroom. And I said, well, there's one down that hall and there's one off of the kitchen and dining room. Oh, okay. So she went down the hallway, I heard the door close, and all of a sudden I heard this eek, and Mrs. Leonard, oh no, what? You know you have a rabbit in your bathtub? I told the kids to take the animals and spread them out, because they all couldn't have just one animal. They, had numerous animals, and they were in every room, on every level, and including a white rat that Amy walked around, draped around her neck. And I told her, you cannot come out with that white rat. So, I'm not sure which one of them put the rabbit in the bathtub. But she really didn't hold it against us. I guess she must have thought, well, if they can survive this, they can survive anything. And in the spring of the year, 6 years later, I get a phone call. Mrs. Leonard, are you sitting down? No, you might want to. I said, why? What's wrong? Well, we have a little boy that we think you would just be a great family for. I said, don't worry about me sitting down, worry about my husband when I call him and tell him this after 6 years. Yeah. So, the spring of that year, it not only rained, but the rain brought us in a little 4-year-old who was so streetwise, who the other children said, Mom, how does he know those words? Well, how does he know about that? They say the first 5 years are so important. The first 4 years are so important. The spring of any of our lives are important. That's when we come into the world, we grow, hopefully with a family that attends church and Sunday school, and throughout life will stay connected with that church and everything it does and all of the people that are involved. We came from a church of 1,000 plus, and it was filled most every Sunday. If you went to Christmas Eve service, you had to go early to get a seat. We moved out here, and we came here. And the change was wonderful. Bill went to the same church. We're back. Bill ended up out here. And when I met Ricky, and she told who she was married to, I said, well, we already know Bill from many years back. There were 3 ministers in that church. Can you imagine? 2 males, 1 female, and they were kept busy at all times. And they knew when the spring of the year came that not only would there be growth, but there would also be problems for the people in that church. There wasn't anything done from the pulpit as we do. Would you like, to ask prayers for someone, or would you like to ask blessings? It was kind of just all involved in the church service. The ministers were the only ones that had anything to do with it. You just sat there, hoping your kids were going to behave. And, went through all of the things that they went through. Bob and I can do the Apostles' Creed without even looking at it, because you had to know the Apostles' Creed. There was so much that you had to put to memory. And when we left that church, because we were moving, it was the spring of the year. And there was some rain, but there was also some beautiful sunshine that left us down a path of somewhere we have grown to love. And it's now our home. For the few first years, it seemed like we were visiting. Now, it seems like home. If we are out somewhere and go past the farmers in the field, we know we're headed in the wrong direction, that we need that spring. It would be wonderful if there would be 4 seasons of spring, but there is only one. And God himself made those 4 seasons. And we just want to wholly thank him for the spring of the year that we can enjoy in our lives.